I mean, it's going to be about as terrible as our analysis on the game because you saw the picture at the start of it. And remember, the Argos played before the
Yeah,
Saskatchewan game.
yeah. Let's
So
just
think about the type.
do the oh wait, I did the wrong one. Do these guys look like they're gonna be paying attention to a late afternoon or an evening game on Saturday? So
Position to be coherent enough to but you know what, we saw the box score, we saw the highlights, and I think this is my take on it. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to 11th Island. I'm Brad here with Chris, and we're talking about CFL Week 3 and looking ahead to CFL Week 4. Chris, what are we starting with?
well, we're starting with the game that we're most excited about. The Argos beating the Blue Bombers 30-23 as the Argos welcomed them back home and welcomed all the fans in their home opener back at BMO Field. Let's just get this one out of the way. Yeah, we were there. We were enjoying the game. It was really fun. Now, Brad, what'd you think of it?
I think this is Arbuckle's team for sure, and he really showed that. McLeod Bethel Thompson came out the Week 1 starter mostly because Arbuckle was hurt, and he looked good Week 1. Week 2 he really seemed to falter. Arbuckle was even kind of shaky, but having the week to prepare, knowing he was the starter, coming in, snap one with the reins, he showed this truly is Nick Arbuckle's team. And I think the Argonauts have a real shot at being competitive and looking for the number 1 spot in a wide open Eastern Conference right now with Arbuckle leading the team. And if he keeps playing like he did on Saturday, it's going to be a really good year for the Argonauts, don't you think?
Yeah, and I think the key word is speed. I think just watching Week 2 when Arbuckle came in halfway through the game, it was like there was a match underneath the Argos' butts in terms of just moving that offense, that pass rush, just that speed. I think really plays. The Argos have had a scrappy offense this whole season to an extent, but I think things just seem a little bit smoother, and it seems like everybody's kind of waking up around Arbuckle. I'm super excited to see what he can do, and it was clear. It was that from that first drive in Week 2 where he came in, there was just that just pace of play really picked up. And they were able to, like that first drive he had, they were just riding down the field. And you felt that energy to feel it from the first drive of the game, and roll right the way through. Fantastic. And I mean, the only blemish I think in his game was when he gave up that fumble right in front of us where we were sitting. He gave up that fumble that was taken to the house. And I mean, you could see there's a couple other times in that game he got sacked later on, and you can really see that, he was going up, do I try to get rid of this ball? No. I'm going to just bring this in, and seeing it live, it was a lot easier to pick that up. So you can see him making those adjustments that have to be made when this season is very young, and it's a very fresh season considering what's happened last year. So I'm really excited to see not only what Arbuckle can do starting a game, but also coming out and starting a game with a full win over arguably one of the best teams in the CFL under your belt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, Arbuckle, it's easy to forget that he only, with all the hype around him, he's only had started 7 games in the CFL. He's relatively new, fresh product, and like you said, they're learning on the go, learning quickly is going to really help him this year. And with the Blue Bombers, I mean, the defense, even though they got put 30 up on them, the defense looked good. They did look good, and Winnipeg's going to have one of the best defenses in the league this year. I mean, obviously playing on the road's more difficult, especially with me and Chris yelling 8 rows behind you. But the offense for Winnipeg, I think, is what could hold them back this year. I really think it could. Claros, he's more of a game manager than a playmaker, and I mean that with no disrespect. I mean, he won them the Grey Cup.
Yeah.
But you're looking at a situation where the defense is carrying this team, and if you face an offense that kind of breaks out in a game like the Argos do, it's going to be tough to come back.
And I mean that's the thing. The third down conversions were. Or the second down conversion, were very tricky for the Blue Bombers. The defense just spent a lot of time on the field, which is, I don't care how good your defense is, especially against a team that's making its home opener. It makes it very difficult. I mean, Claros had 54% completion rate. So there was a lot of misses there. And another thing, I mean, Brady Oliveira, who's one of the guys that really needs to work in order for the Blue Bombers to have a good offense. I mean, he was kind of kept to 28 yards. I think those are some key, as you said. I mean, Collaros is a game manager. He needs his run game around him, and it just wasn't really there last Saturday.
And we don't know how long Andrew Harris is still going to be out for.
Yes,
too.
yeah.
And I think, I mean, looking at the Argos too, I know everybody that's watching this is going to want to hear about this Thursday's game, the postponement. I mean, there's no secret. It's out there in the news now. We're going to touch on that at the end. We're going to go through all the games first. So, Chris, we want to jump to the next game.
Yes,
here?
but first, Elks break out, and maybe we didn't realize the
we're burying the
double
lead here
meaning.
even more. Yeah. So I mean, with the Elks, Chris, it was bound to happen. I mean, the first two games, they didn't look good, but there was moments where you went, this could be a really good football team, where they would drive down in the red zone and then they get stopped. And in this game, they finally broke out. They get a win here. I mean, a pretty good win too against a BC team that we've been talking up a lot this year. And I think this is a situation where Trevor Harris and crew, it's a shorter season, but there's still a lot of season left. And in these conferences, again, they're going to be wide open this year. So you don't need to really blow out the record to get a playoff spot. You just got to stay competitive, get your team rolling, and you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, really. I mean, just any team, if you can win 75% of your home games, you're in a very good spot the way things are shaping up. And the Elks, I mean, the ability to, I mean, not much change with the Elks game. You know, Trevor Harris continued to just make passes, rack up a ton of yardage. You know, James Wilder had a game. It's just they were actually able to score out of it. And I mean, Michael Riley, you know, he had an average game, but it wasn't enough really to push them over the top. I mean, the Elks really, I think, just made those few adjustments because you look at, I mean, the Elks. And you look at like where they are in terms of what are our thoughts about the Elks as a just CFL fans looking at the power rankings that are starting to come together and everything. And I mean, it's really just it comes down to a handful of key plays that kept the Elks down low, the way they've been playing. And it's just those minor adjustments in the red zone that gets them out here.
Yeah, and Trevor Harris, kind of his wideouts like Greg Ellingson, really started. He showed up for the first time really all season. No offense, but he showed up, and when he shows up, look what happens. The offense, we see a lot more production, and we see a win. And I think the Elks team, we kind of really put them down the first few weeks. They are a team that can really, I think, stay competitive and be in the mix for a 2 or 3 spot in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Ellingson, like going 9 for 10 there, almost 150 yards. I mean, that's exactly what they need. That was that key piece that was really missing. And now this game, I mean, to prove yourself as for Harris, just a solid, reliable guy to always go to. That's what he kind of became as the game went on. It's nice to see that working again for the Elks. Now,
and then
we're moving on. We're jumping on. Did that work? Oh, that's we got technical difficulties. There we go. Who needs Bo? Who needs Bo? And who needs technology? Calgary Stampeders beating the Montreal Alouettes. Final score 28-22. Brad, what's rattling around in the brain about that one?
Well, I mean, the shock here is the other kid started for QB, and now fans are going to kill me. I'm blanking on the kid's name. What's his name?
Jake Meyer.
Jake Meyer. That's it. So I think a lot of people were expecting O'Connor in here, the Canadian QB. A lot of people were probably disappointed. And Meyer comes out, looks real rough, throws a couple of picks, and then he shapes up and takes him back against a very. I mean, we were talking the week before about Montreal, like they're the best team in the damn league, and they're down decently big to them, and this kid storms back. I mean, he looks good. I mean, like the tag thing says, who needs Bo?
Yeah, 304 yards. I mean, that's pretty up there in terms of the way the numbers have been this season. I mean, that game. I mean, with to have Levi go down, and just be with a broken leg. He's playing last week with a broken leg, and this guy is so good that I mean, they're just hanging around with, and then he's out, and then this America comes in, no problem. I mean, this Montreal Alouettes team has been very good, able to pull out the win.
Yeah, and it's a situation. I mean, Calgary fans, once they saw those first few picks go down big to Montreal, staring 0-3 in the face, that it's all 3 games at home too. They like that panic button was just being mashed.
Yes,
but to come out of that 1-2, have the kid learn a lot of lessons, look pretty good near the end of the game. I mean, again, I'm going to say this so many times in these videos week to week, but the conferences are so wide open that you never know what can happen. Just stay in the race.
Yeah.
And it's a situation, if he starts rolling kind of like a Nick Arbuckle a couple years ago, they can ride with him. If Bo Levi Mitchell comes back healthy and he's able to take the reins up, you never know what can happen when you get the best QB in the league back there, right? So Calgary's staying. They're staying in the race here. It's looking good. Montreal, it's a tough situation. I mean, those are games that you got to pull out. Again, when the standings are going to be so close, you get up big on a kid starting his first game, you got to finish it out. And they played well, especially I think the offense played well. Vernon Adams again. Vernon Adams might be depending on what the odds are for most outstanding player of the year, you might want to mash him because he's both on the feet and throwing. He's going to have a really good year. I mean, especially with the targets and the chemistry that he clearly has with like Geno, Lewis, Quan Bray, and the rest of them. He's going to have a really good year. But this is a game where they have to finish. You got to pick up that win.
Yes, yeah, and I mean that last drive. I mean they put in a good effort. I still kind of think Geno was in on that, on that last play. But I'm looking on it. My TV is kind of small, so I'm not. But I will say, if I was the guy making the call on the instant replay, I would say Geno's in, and it's a very different game. So I think we got to factor that in. To the whole conversation is that it was a scrap to the end for sure. And I think there was, at least if it wasn't bad officiating, it was a bad couple of inches that kept them from tying that game up. But yeah, so I think this will be an interesting thing to see shape up, because in these first 3 weeks, it's changed week to week, right? And every week we say, okay, this is what we thought going in. We tested the hypothesis, and it's completely wrong. So now, but at least we know for next week. And we have, and then the opposite thing happens the next week in terms of who's going to show up to play. What are the matchups like? There's a lot of football math that we can do here that it's just not going to make any sense to. And you got to do some calculus to determine who's going to beat who. So it'll be interesting to see now that we get, because I think with the Montreal Alouettes, I mean, 3 games I think is a sample size, and that's going to be
too.
Yeah, I know exactly what I'm saying. Yeah. 3 games is a sample size, so really we're gonna have to see what they do next week, and then for the Stampeders now with Meyer, let's see what happens now that they have, at least a consistent or a steady choice for who's going to be replacing Bo going forward. Now, moving on, Saskatchewan riding along, and beating the Red Blacks 23-10. Brad, how terrible was that
first
segue?
Of all, I know. You know what I mean? It's going to be about as terrible as our analysis on the game, because you saw the picture at the start of it, and remember the Argos played before the Saskatchewan game.
Yeah.
Let's just think about the type.
Oh wait, I did the wrong one. Do these guys look like they're going to be paying attention to a late afternoon or an evening game on Saturday? So
position to be coherent enough to but you know what, we saw the box score, we saw the highlights, and I think this is my take on it.
Yeah,
Saskatchewan is who we thought they were as one of the best teams in the league, and the Red Blacks are who we thought they were, as one of the worst teams in the league, but with some spunk.
Yes. Yes.
Like
I mean,
they're so. I mean, they didn't get blown out, so that's okay.
yeah.
It's a situation, but they also we're never really going to win this game, which
Yeah.
is what we thought as well.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm looking at this box score here. We got Matt Nichols, 79.2 completion rate, so that's a B plus right there, you know.
It's what I told you at the start of. It's what I told you in the first video. Matt Nichols isn't the problem. If Matt Nichols is healthy, he's one of the best QBs in the league. The problem is everybody. I mean, in all fairness, Ottawa's defense in the game so far this year has been pretty good. The defense is kind of overperforming than what we expected, but it's kind of Matt Nichols' surrounding cast on the offense. And again, I mean, Paul LaPolice. I mean, people thought Ottawa was going to be a lot worse already than they have been. So give LaPolice some more time to get the whole team set up. I mean, get him completely comfortable again in a head coaching role. You never know what could happen, but it also, I mean, they might go 1-13, and that might be okay too.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
what are you going to do?
Yeah,
and if you expected any more analysis from us, we're sorry.
Yeah,
I mean, what do you want from us?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, cause, yeah, we were just having some fun. So let's move forward into next week. Now, while I pull up, because I didn't have this ready, the odds for next week's games. Brad, you want to get us started on what's going on with these Elks and what's happening with the game on Thursday?
Well, I mean, waking up this morning on Monday morning, we're recording it then, to see that the game on Thursday is postponed was a little disappointing. So, for people that don't know, the Edmonton Elks had a fair amount of positive tests for COVID. They canceled their practice on yesterday and today, and now the game has been postponed. So BC who they played hasn't had any positive tests, and my understanding is it's under 10 players on the Elks, but they might be keeping that kind of under wraps. So it's just the CFL here. They're taking the proactive measures, and probably the only you kind of have to at that point. So any proactive, you have to, and they're postponing the Argos game. The question is for me. Well, one, this is highly concerning going into week 4 when you get a game postponed. The CFL can't have this happen because they don't have the financial ability to start maneuvering stuff around, and they also could get run into some. I mean, you get a couple more games postponed, and you're looking at the season maybe postponed, especially as Canada, the cases start going up, and we know how conservative Canada is and how they're going to slap those restrictions right back on. This is not good for the CFL because, and nobody's come out and said this, but if the CFL doesn't run to its full extent this year, they don't do a full season, they don't bring in normal revenues, I think that might be it for the league. They can't do another season of losses.
Well, I mean, I think we have to wait and see, because I think we talked to Jameer Thurman about this, and he said, this thing's not going. Don't be a doomsday guy. This is we'll find a way. And I want to stay optimistic about that. I don't want to go to the though. I understand why you would bring that up, and I think that is a conversation that's going to have to happen soon. But I think right now the big thing too for me is the Elks are coming into Toronto, and while having positive cases, it's always going to end the same, or it's always going to lead to the same outcome, where we're going to cancel practices, we're going to cancel a game, whatever. But I feel as if going into Toronto, where first of all there's probably the biggest population for a CFL city, and I'm not talking about people going to the game. I'm just saying like. Being in the city to play the game, you got to stay the night. You got to go to get something to eat. All these like outside logistic stuff that has to happen in the most populated city in Canada. But also, I mean, the press is going to be the least friendly to you if you kind of try to sweep this under the rug, go play, and then stuff pops out of that. I mean, the Toronto press is going to run you over like no other city in Canada, and it's just
as long as they remember that they have a football team.
As long as they actually though it'd be not bad marketing. People would actually be reminded that we have a football team. I mean, going through the city, everybody's going into Union Station. Everybody's ready for the Jays game. Going around. There's flags for teams everywhere. Not a single CFL anything, and not a single Argonauts thing anything anywhere. You'd almost think, man, like, is this the right day for this? And then you pull into exhibition and things change. That's where all the action is. But I mean, it's concerning. It's very, and especially as just fans of alt football, to have to go. I mean, the CFL almost fortunately didn't have to go through that, where we shut down halfway through when all this stuff was the way when COVID hit. But you think about something like the XFL that had, everything was going great, and then all of a sudden it just came in and shut everything down, and to look at, I mean, I read an article a few days ago about how week 2 and 3 for the CFL was doing fantastic television numbers. The stuff we've noticed, putting out CFL content, that the interest has been there. I mean, we're going to do this anyways. We enjoy doing this. This is fun, but there seems to be actual interest around this. There's buzz that has picked up since the season started. There's good games to talk about. It's the product on the field has been very, very exciting, and there's been a lot of intrigue, a lot of stories, not a ton of the drama that, like, because there's things that will drive clicks and drive conversation that's productive for the league, and there's stuff that's counterproductive, and everything has been very productive and exciting and fun. And to see this, I get that. I'm getting deja vu from XFL in what year was, I don't even know what 2020.
It's really not good. The only positive you can think, the CFL does have so many bye weeks. I believe the Argos have 3 bye weeks.
Yeah,
they haven't had a bye yet. I believe the Elks haven't had a bye yet either. So hopefully we can line something, shuffle some games around.
If I'm not mistaken, because both teams, I heard, they don't play until Labor Day, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so they would have that. What week is it in August? Are we at the end?
That is like the next week.
Oh, is that next week?
Yeah, don't forget, because every team has to. There's a bye for a team has to have a bye every week because of the 9 teams, right? Yeah. So what's they're gonna have to happen is there's gonna have to be some shuffling of the schedule, which again, I mean, you're looking at the schedules weren't balanced, so you're not throwing that around. I mean, the Argos play the Tiger Cats 4 times this year.
Yeah.
So there's some shuffling's gonna have to happen. They had to have expected something like this. Having it happen in week 3 or week 4 is very soon and a concerning look, but also positively gives you a lot of time to fix it as well. It's not happening in week 14.
Because the story was originally like that, or I think the rules were that if you got COVID and couldn't have a game because a team had COVID, that team would forfeit. Was that the story?
It was if you were because of unvaccinated players, I believe.
Yes.
And that might just be the NFL. I don't know if the CFL fully adopted that.
Yeah, see, I'm not sure. I mean, half the stuff I'm going off of Reddit comments here. So, like, I just read this. I go on the CFL Reddit and, like, read around, like, every day, and somebody hears something that makes sense, you know?
I don't think we are. This isn't the video to get into the the vaccination, because I mean that is something that people are going to have strong opinions on. So I mean, go ahead and leave them in the comments. We're not going to respond to them.
Let's have a discussion here, okay? Let's have a discussion about vaccines and just masks and lockdowns. Let's make this about. I mean, we just wanted to make a chill sports show that we could all be like, like, you have a tiger on your hat, like, and like I have a boat, like, and then next thing you know, it's like we're a part of the media for this election year. It's chaos. But just leave the comments down below. It helps us in the algorithm. I don't care what you're gonna talk about, as long as it's something that's provocative and people will respond. to make more comments and more points in the algorithm.
Let me make my picks, and then
Yeah,
Ryan,
okay.
we'll see who wins the picks this week.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, this is Brad's going head to head with Ryan. So Ryan, leave more of those algorithm points in the comments, please. All right, first off, we got the Hamilton Tiger Cats coming off a little holiday against the Montreal Alouettes. Point spread, Tiger Cats are plus 1.5. Over under 45
Montreal was plus 1.5.
Tiger Cats.
Tiger Cats are plus 1.5.
Yes.
So Montreal's the favorite.
Yes.
Or where is it? It's
40
in Hamilton?
I
Or in
believe.
Montreal?
No, it's in Montreal. Hamilton doesn't have a home game until Labor Day.
All right.
Or is that Labor Day?
Take Montreal
No.
money line. No, it's not Labor Day.
Yeah,
Take the Montreal money line here. What's the over-under?
Over under 45.5.
Take the under.
Yeah, okay. And now we got the BC Lions heading to Ottawa, and they're at -1.5. The BC Lions are at -1.5. Over under 41.5.
So this line's going to change.
Yeah, this is I think Bet Regal just kind of like puts everything in, and things haven't really tilted yet because I see a lot of 1.5s that are kind of suspect on here.
Yeah, they're not great site. They're the only site that puts the odds up early. I would say take BC up to -7 here. And what's the over under?
Over under 41.5. So kind of low.
Yeah, I mean, I think you take the under here though. Unless it hits 40, I think you take the under here because Ottawa's not going to put points up, but their defense has proven to be able to keep points off the board. I mean, the Saskatchewan, the total in that game was 33. And Saskatchewan's shown they have one of the best offenses and defenses. So, yeah, under BC up to -7.
Mm-hmm. All right, so next up, Winnipeg Blue Bombers are heading back home to take on the Calgary Stampeders. Stampeders are at plus 5.5, and the over-under 40.5. So the Bombers kind of a big favorite returning back home.
Yeah, take the Bombers at home, coming off a loss. Take the Bombers -5.5, and then what was the over/under?
40.5.
Take the over too.
Yeah,
because they're gonna. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing. I think Calgary's shown that they can, even with the rookie QB, put up points. Blue Bombers in this game probably still gonna be able to put. I mean, it's so low too. I think the overs have got to start hitting soon here, especially with the points being pushed down so much in low-scoring games. People are going to break out, and then I think Blue Bombers going home. They'll get the 5.5. Yeah, I think that's a safe play.
All right, now finally we got the Montreal Alouettes. Wait, no, we've gone through all the games. I always do this. It just.
In all fairness, there was a lot less games this week because of the Argos game.
Yeah, so yeah, my default brain was just like, oh, there's 4 games. I just got that internal clock. So I mean, let's just say, how sick would it have been to see the Argos and the Elks, who are kind of the two coming out of week 3, the two kind of sneaky good teams in the league? It would have been very exciting, but.
Yeah, it would have been very exciting because, again, the boys would have been there, but wasn't meant to be. I mean, hopefully they reschedule it for a Saturday. I mean, who knows? Who knows what they're going to do?
Hopefully it's a Saturday. I'm not working.
Yeah, but it's hopefully the CFL is able to figure it out, and hopefully, I think this is the scare they needed to kind of tighten up the restrictions. Maybe any players that haven't been vaccinated yet, they go, all right, we got to go do this because we want the season to continue, want to make our money.
Okay, so this guy right here says, okay, I'm not going to make an opinion about the vaccine. And then next thing you know, he's like, here's my opinion about the vaccine.
I'm not giving.
I don't mean to get political, but
I'm saying what might happen with the players because of what's happened. But regardless, roll with my picks or roll with Ryan's picks in the comments. We'll see who does better. Week 4, hopefully it's going to be good. we don't have as many games, so we'll probably have a shorter video next week. But hopefully, no more postpones. And that's all I got.
Yeah,
Chris.
people are like, oh, thank goodness it's gonna be a shorter video. This one has been kind of it's been a good train wreck right here. One of the a good train wreck, I think. It's been fun, and now
we've been long. How long are we at?
30 minutes, 33 minutes.
Oh,
with us having to retake the start a couple times.
Yeah, people like, wait. There were which ones did you have to cut?
yeah.
Okay,
so.
but also too, I gotta let the people know. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed it. It means a lot to us. It really does. It helps us produce more content. And if you subscribe, go comment on the card videos. You see our sports card playlist. We're doing a giveaway at 250 subscribers and 350 subscribers. 250 is a Topps 2021 Heritage box, a hanger box. 350 is a Score 1990-91 unopened hobby box. All completely free to enter. Every comment is a entry. Go do that, and we'll see you next week.
Goodbye, everybody.